Hail Saint, everybody. This is my Sinful Sunday broadcast as a minister of infernal affairs. And this Sunday, I've decided to speak about something in the left-hand path and Satanism that I see a lot on the internet. Okay. And as a satanic leader, I feel these things should be addressed. So today's discussion by me, yours truly, is on the usage of emotional reaction in magic and the left-hand path, and Satanism the Lefthand Path in particular. Okay? The Master Counselor book, things I decided to talk about that are important to talk about. Okay. So let me get right down to the crux of the matter. All over the internet, I see Satanists, particularly in social networks. I see Satanists that we feel should be strong Satanists, okay? And if you're a Satanist, you've risen above the herd of humanity to take your rightful place as a god or goddess upon the planet, okay, upon this earth. Because why? Because we've risen above the herd of humanity. We don't follow the norm of society or the psychology of regular society either, for that matter. We like to say that Satanists are smart enough and intelligent enough that we use logic before mere reaction. Always like to use logic before we make an emotional response. Okay. On the internet, we see a lot of people making emotional responses, and they're throwing these emotional responses all over the place. Okay. Now, to a Satanist of caliber, like myself, to me, if you're throwing emotional response all over the internet and you're projecting and broadcasting to everybody, transmitting to everybody when you're in a low state, when you're feeling down and out and depressed, when things aren't going your way, you often want to stamp your little feet and have a temper tantrum about it. When as Satanists, the first and foremost thing we're supposed to be doing is being in charge of our own self, our own mastery of life for our own selves. We're supposed to be taking direct satanic responsibility for everything in our life, both offline and online. Okay. A lot of emotional response being thrown out. Guys, if you have enemies out there, you're just broadcasting to your enemies the best time to attack you. When you're at your lowest biorhythm, your lowest place you could possibly be in your persona, whether it's just that day or you've been that way for months, whatever. You're broadcasting it out there for everybody to see it. Okay. Let me say something. As a satanic witch, you never want to do such things. It shows weakness, not strength. Satanists are intelligent, and we're not weak. The whole idea about Satanism is self-empowerment. Self-empowerment leads to strength in leadership, strength and conviction of the things you do in your life and your beliefs, right? But there's a certain point in your life you got to take satanic responsibility. Yes, I'm a good minister of infernal affairs because I like to talk about these things. We have to talk about them. Very, very important. You can't go out and just spew out emotional response constantly. Okay, so we try to teach as Satanists that you should use logic before mere reaction. Okay. There's the main thing I want to speak about today. Start erasing that kind of persona, that kind of thing that you're showing out there in your outreach, and instead replace it with a show of strength, okay, and a belief in yourself. Oftentimes, emotional response shows a disbelief in your own personal self because you don't believe you can be the solution to your problem. You always think somebody else has to be the solution to your problem. Wrong. You, particularly as a Satanist, are the solution to the problem. Okay. Now I'm going to go a bit further with my whole discussion here about the usage of emotional response in Satanism and the left-hand path, right? Or in life in general. Use emotional response where it matters. Okay, what's Drew mean by that? Where it matters? Hell yeah, I said where it matters. Where it matters is in your own personal satanic magic that you're doing. That's where it matters. Whether it's a satanic spell or a satanic ritual that you're doing. That's the place to gather, to garnish and pull up from within yourself. Your emotion, your inner power, or your inner strength about something that you're expressing out there. That's the only time you should express emotional energy, period. Unless it's a productive and conducive and progressive energy. Okay? The only time. Where will you use emotional response? In just about every ritual and every satanic spell there is. Love. You want to really speak to the demons and demonesses that you may be talking to help or petitioning to help you with your love ritual or your love spell. And you want to show an emotional feeling. You want to show that, yes, you're really sincere. This is what you really, really, really want. And again, unless you really, really, really want something, do not ask for it. Okay. Use emotional response only for the things where it matters. Satanic rituals, satanic spellcraft workings. Okay. If you make an emotional response in everyday life, of a positive emotional response, like, man, I just love what you're doing out there. Yeah, that's an emotional response too, because you're showing a sentiment and a concern and a feeling that, hey, I appreciated what you were doing. You're doing something great out there. That's a productive emotional response. The other emotional responses I'm referring to are detrimental to your own satanic health, your own satanic mental well-being. Absolutely is. Okay. So make sure only use that emotional response in the places it's supposed to be used at. Again, like I said, in satanic ritual and satanic magic. Dr. LaVey stressed upon this quite a bit in the Satanic Bible. He wasn't the first Satanist that knew these secrets, knew these methodologies, and knew that a Satanist has to reflect strength. Okay. Well, a reflection of strength is also a reflection of intelligence, meaning that you would, as a Satanist, know how to pick your battlegrounds, right? You would take the time to pick those battlegrounds too, if you're a smart Satanist, a Satanist of intelligence, instead of doing a mere emotional response. Now, when you make a mere emotional response, you've let them control you. Wow. Drew just said that? Absolutely, I fucking said that. It's the truth. It's satanic truth. You're giving them power instead of saying you have no power. You don't even bear a response from somebody of my caliber. Okay, that's your thought form pattern should be that. Okay. Using logic before emotional response. Now, especially if you enter into leadership in Satanism or the left-hand path, right? You have to be a stable leader. That means mentally as well as in your everyday life. Okay. Mentally, you must be stable. Stop the emotional response. Now, emotional response covers a lot of things. Often we're responding to what other people do. It doesn't matter a rat's ass what other people do. What matters is what you as a Satanist do. For anything else, It matters what you as a Satanist do. Very important thought form. If you want to gain and garner strength as a Satanist, your thinking must be strong. Not just your will, your actions, your entire thinking. And you're going to reflect that outward into the world. I show strength in leadership. I show intelligence. I show the use of logic before mere responding. Oftentimes, the people that go out and try to belittle other people, for instance, we don't have to respond to them, because if they're belittling other people, the real truth is they're the ones that are, belittled themselves, okay? Because they have to externalize something that they have insecurities their own self about. There's the real truth of it. And you often, as a Satanist, show those things out there, okay? Wow. Everybody goes through terrible relationships. You're going to go through a testing in one lifetime of, you might have 4 or 5 relationships in your whole lifetime before you get to that first good relationship even. But going out there and telling people, I'm hurt, I feel at a loss, I'm depressed, you're giving anybody that really is acting like they're your friend on the outside but really are your enemy the ammunition they need to know when you're at your highest or your lowest. Me, I keep them guessing. They never know when I'm high or low. And I don't go low. I go high. Again, because I'm using that thought form pattern that tells me, my satanic guides, my demons tell me, Drew, they have no power. Don't even give them a response. They don't even deserve the time of day, your time of day, your time, your effort, or your energy. And you don't want to put energy into feeding the other side, right? Or that person that's done something that all of a sudden triggers you to have an emotional response. Okay. The best emotional response is kept under the sign of silence. Then you choose wisely what you want to do. Okay. But do not feed them by doing an emotional response that only shows and serves to show that you are weak. Boy, those things are important. And more so if you're entering the area of satanic leadership, my friends and my brothers and sisters. Wow. Now, I particularly chose background music, which is thunderstorms, that I'm listening to, for a reason, because this is powerful stuff. On your psychic and etherical levels, these things are really important. They're important to your own personal psyche as a Satanist. Okay? A Satanist of knowledge uses logic. Okay? In the areas where you have to show understanding, show understanding. Understanding is not weakness, but that quick emotional response to something shows weakness. Okay? It really does. Shows you're not in control of yourself to say, well, what an idiot. I'm not going to respond to this fucking shit. Let them be out there looking like idiots. Remember what Drew always says about natural law, and particularly Brotherhood current, like attracts like, right? So what's an idiot going to attract? Another idiot. Okay. So when you don't respond, you give them no power. That's a fact. And the truth is, everybody, they don't have any power in the first place. But they can try to cyberbully, try to get an emotional response from you, trigger something. And when they do that, then they think they won. Wow. We're Satanists. We win. They lose. We don't lose. We win. Always do things that allow other people to win too. Okay. You don't have to be the only ones, the Satanists, that wins. My theory is we all should be winning, and there's no losers that way. That's an interesting satanic concept, isn't it? But in the area of idiots and stuff, you don't want to make emotional response to them. You don't want to give them any fucking power whatsoever. They're out there saying an idiotic thing. Let them say the idiotic thing. Just shows them for who they really are. Okay. And then I want to go on the second part of all this. If you are taking self-responsibility for your own actions and deeds as a Satanist witch or Satanist, even if you're not into satanic witchcraft, if you are doing things of that nature, you're relinquishing some of your own personal power. Okay, as Satanists, we're looking for self-empowerment in the first place. All these little things that I'm going to tell you, being a minister of infernal affairs, are all for your well-being as a Satanist, okay? They're not for me. I've mastered these. I've learned these things over the years. It's called direct experience, okay, with people. When I first came out on the internet myself, I'm not perfect, okay? But I do good work in Satan's eyes. That's what matters. But I'm not perfect, too. When I first came out on the internet, I wasn't used to cyber bullies and people just attacking other people for no reason, not even knowing them and stuff. Okay? And I'd let it bother me. Years and years ago, I'd let it bother me. But the real truth is, a court jester, okay, somebody that's nobody, why would you let it bother you whatsoever, right? If it's an action or a deed that somebody else does that won't even change a ripple in your own vibration, then don't worry about it, period, right? Don't worry about it, period. There's going to be cyber bullies out there. People trying to push people's buttons. Oh, I cursed you. Blah, blah, blah. And your curses don't work, or whatever they want to try to say. You don't want to test me to see if my curses work or not. I'm going to tell you that much. Every one of them that I've ever done worked. Don't push my resolve. But again, where am I responding? I'm responding in a satanic ritual, not just an emotional reaction, right? Okay. There's where Drew does his satanic business. Okay. And the only ones that really know what Drew's satanic business are is Drew himself, the demons that I constantly work with, and particularly my own coven or Brotherhood of Satan family members may know things that we're doing because we've shared it with them, and we're building a even bigger group mind to tackle a situation or to resolve a situation. Okay. Or to merely protect yourself by warding off those negative energies that you don't want in your life or your aura, period, right? Well, those negative energies also relate to people on the internet, okay? If you're in a group page, for instance, somebody says something you don't like, you have the option not to even respond. When you jump on it and you respond quickly, well, you're wrong and I'm right. You just gave them power. I don't give them any power. Don't give them power. They've not earned it. Okay. That's what I got to say about that stuff. I often see it. Satanists got to take self-responsibility. And the first way to take self-responsibility is to do things for yourself in your life, master those things, master your life without any concern about anything in your outside environment, period. That includes the words people use. Okay. We often say words are creating spells. They can. They absolutely can. And if you're emotionally responding to somebody, okay, Guess what you've done? What you have just done was created a spell that's convincing you that you are whatever it is these other people are trying to accuse you of, or what they're saying out there that's negative, or what they're trying to say about you behind your back, or who knows what it is, right? Wow. Okay. Satanism. It's not about being weak. It's not. Here is the real truth. You can take gender out of the equation because it's no longer what gender is stronger than the other. Okay. Drop gender out of the situation, period, or out of the equation. And then make it like Drew does. The satanic witch world and the mundane world. Okay. Mundane world, I'm not going to react to any of their shit. Okay. The satanic world. I'm going to react to things that are positively out there saying good things about Satan, okay, or other areas of the occult, or the left-hand path, or about other Satanist leaders that do deserve to have a slap in the back every so often, right? I don't need a slap on the back. All I need to know is Satan, Lilith, and the demons I work with know me and know my intention. And they know my infernal service is 666% for them. That's all. That's the reaction I make. Okay. So please, lighten up on me being able to see all these people out there. Please, lighten up on you being out there crying on the internet. You didn't get your way about something. So-and-so said something derogatory about me. Like I said, to the court jester, what the fuck does it matter what the fuck they say? Their words will come back to haunt them. Okay. Just remember, emotional response is not the way to do things. Only use emotional response in the right places in your satanic ritual and spellcrafting expression. Only. Only. The rest of the time, present yourself as a Satanist leader or a Satanist that knows something, satanic witch that knows something. Don't let outside things at all dictate to you how you should be thinking, how you should even respond to something. You determine all those things yourself on a personal level. On a personal level. I'm going to keep expounding satanic philosophy in the way we really think as Satanists. A lot of you are a far cry from how Satanists should be thinking. All the more reason I should probably be out more. And no, this is not a critical thing I'm trying to speak about here, okay? This is very constructive. It's for self-empowering Satanists. Again, Drew can lead a horse to water, but Drew can't make you think. You have to come to that thought form pattern in your own psyche, on your own personal level, when you are ready. Strive to grow and become a intelligent Satanist that reflects strength. Okay? Emotional response does not express strength, my friends. Okay. So thank you for your time today. I know this is a little shorter than most of my videos, but again, as a minister of infernal affairs, I often like to address these controversial issues that most people are afraid of. They're taboo or whatever they think they are. They're afraid to talk about them. Okay. But Satanism has to have leaders that can and will discuss these things with you. Then we want you to make your own informed decision on a personal level, okay? I'm not going to say stuff to you, that I don't know based on my own experience, to be true. I'm not going to expound falsehoods to my brothers and sisters, ever. But again, I don't want you to always take what Drew says at face value either. Fact check Drew on a lot of things. That's why Drew makes a point of going out of my way to show where in history I could back up everything. Again, you have to have knowledge, right? So that's the things you should be developing instead of emotional reaction about people's bullshit, right? It doesn't matter at all in the satanic scheme of things whatsoever. Doesn't matter. Direct your attention and your focus on your own positive well-being as a Satanist, right? And your own satanic growth. These little key pointers I'm going to keep saying to people out here, okay, are very important. But you had to make that decision whether Drew's right or wrong about these things, right? Because I am correct on a lot of the things I'm going to pass on to you guys, okay? And no, not every situation is exactly the same. But in a lot of cases, you're going to see the similarities there. And watch out on the internet for people that are deliberately out there wanting to push buttons, right? Okay. Because they think pushing buttons disrupts things. Okay. And this is for our admins of our satanic group pages and stuff. You guys need to be strong too. When you see an idiot out there saying something just totally stupid and off the wall that you can feel and sense with your own witch's intuition that they're doing this to strike up a not a good debate, but a disruption, to strike up something that's going to be detrimental to the actual direction your group's trying to go in. Don't let them do that shit. Don't let them control what you want the direction of your own group to go in. Okay. Please don't. All right. There's a reason some satanic organizations, like we're an offline satanic organization, we represent ourselves online. There's reasons that we have to have security. And it's not because we're worried we're going to be sharing the wrong information with people or anything like that. No, we don't want the idiots getting in our stuff, okay, getting into our presentations with and our interaction with other people to cause shit. Some of them lay down dormant in your group pages for a while and they just watch, right? And they're just waiting for the time to, this is our time to come up and start some shit. That's why we have a moderated group page too. Because, again, too many Satanists, and I often wonder why they're using the name Satanist, because you got to be self-empowered to be a real Satanist. And self-empowerment doesn't let themselves be influenced by somebody that's an idiot or stupid, right? Okay. I don't mean to be harping on the guys. But really, I've seen a lot of this these last 3 months. Okay. And again, let me point us right in the right direction, our left-hand path direction. Okay. And that says, be responsible as a Satanist. Take self-responsibility. Self-responsibility and self-empowerment are one and the same in many instances. Okay. Now, often what I talk about, I'm addressing those controversial issues out there. But Satan and the demon want me to take these issues out to the public, okay, when we see them out there too. Why would you think Satan would even have a fucking interest? Satan's usually like sitting around going, fucking humanity, what are they going to do next? Okay. I'll tell you why. Satan doesn't want that shit. Satan wants you to be a strong Satanist. A self-empowered Satanist. A Satanist with stability with 2 feet on the ground with a good head on your shoulders. Those Satanists are the ones that can make the difference. If you want to be a Satanist, you want to make a difference, not only in your own life, but the life of others, watch what you do out there on the net. Always think about something before you do it. Just, for instance, just as Drew picks these discussions, the subject of my discussions, if I'm not teaching a regular class, I do these satanic discussions, right? I think it out, though. Sometimes I think about it weeks ahead of time, where I have listings of things that need to be talked about. My little Master Counselor book of devilish deeds, right? Okay. Use logic before an emotional response. Okay. Use the emotional responses and that pent-up energy for when you're doing your rituals and your spellcraft. That's the only time. So, give you all an inverted star there. Blessings. As Satanists, we need to stand out in these areas. Strength. Okay. Strength. Our communication with others has to be based on respect. If you know you're going to get in an argument with somebody, in a pissing match with somebody, because they're saying a statement that's just off the wall or you don't agree with or whatever, don't waste your time. Satan says, use your time in better ways than something that's going to get you upset, right? Remember something. When you get up in the morning, you can do a satanic affirmation that brings strength into your life for that day. Do a satanic affirmation that says, I will not allow these outside idiots to influence my thinking or my persona or ruin my aura or displace my day, get me depressed. Okay. Become a Satanist of power. Power means strength and knowledge, coupled with the usage of wisdom. Okay. It's a wise Satanist that thinks before he reacts. My sisters and my brothers. I love everybody. Hail Satan. Thank you for your time today. Most of all, remember to hail Satan first, then hail yourself as a Satanist, because you're the highest embodiment of humankind. You stand as a God and God upon this earth. Brothers and sisters, gods and goddesses, do not put an emotional reaction out there that shows weakness. The gods and goddesses are strong. Our demons are strong. And we are strong. Hail Saint. Hail the Brotherhood. May you all live long and prosper at Majorum Sanctanae Gloriam, always to the greater glory of Saint. So mote it be. So it is done.